Hello,
Hello.
lovely people.
Hello.
Hello, governor. Hey, there's people already here. Hey, Monica. Good morning. Oh, you're saying good morning to Irene. Good morning to you too. Fine. Good morning. Good morning, Irene. How are you guys doing? So when I say good morning, but afternoon or evening or whenever you're watching this broadcast on replay, or if you're in some other part of the world, we do have viewers from all over the world. So welcome and thanks for joining us.
We should come up with a new slogan like, good day greetings.
Good day. What? Mr. Rogers over here wants to be like, good day greetings. Grand, what is it? Oh, I love this. Irene's grand rising to you. Grand rising.
I like that.
That's like if I'm from the Shire, you know, top of the Marne. I really should be from the Shire.
Yeah. Okay.
I want second breakfast and Levensies. All right. So today is day 5 of our series this week, discussions on marriage and heart disease. But also, we've really been covering a lot of relationships, other than just marriage, because this really translates over to parenting and friendships and things like that. So, but today's subject won't really translate into any other relationships because today we're going to tackle communication, sex, and money. I don't feel like we're talking to most people about a couple of those. But that's something that, I got to tell you, when I saw this, I thought, yes, because there are so many people that, they go home from their heart attack, or they go home from the hospital, or their diagnosis, and they have all these questions they don't either feel like they can ask. They don't know.
Can we skip over a section? Because I got family watching.
Your family knows how it happens, babe. They're grown-ups. But the thing is with heart disease, so many people have these questions, and they're like, what do we do about this? What do we do about what?
Irene says, oh, spicy.
It's a spicy show today. Second breakfast. Yes, second breakfast, Irene. I gotta have 11sies. So anyway, so this is something that we're talking about today because it's really important, and I'm so glad that it was included in the study text. And actually, now that I say that, let's make sure we are all aware of the link in the description. So the link in the description. Stop. The comments are killing us, you guys. I have to bring it up. Spicy heart attacks. It's like you just taking my chances. Man, I love you so much, Irene. Irene's our people, I gotta say. Okay, so anyway, before I forget, gosh, I can't even do housekeeping with you guys. This is why I love you. You're my friends. So it is, because I can't help it. It's the link in the description. All it is it's going to take you to the study text that we're on. So if you want to follow along, it'll take you to the YouVersion Bible app if you're on mobile. If you're on desktop, it'll take you to Bible.com. But basically, it'll just take you to the actual study that we're on so that you can follow along. You don't have to search around for what we're doing. And it'll take you to, other verses and things. So if you want to do a little bit of a deeper dive on a series that we're on, you can do a little bit more studying on the app, and further than maybe what we did if you want to just on your own time go further into it. But that's what we put that there for, so you can follow along on the study text. But that's in the description for you, and so you can follow.
Right. And if you guys are watching us live or you are watching us on replay, we just wanted to welcome you and thank you for just taking the time today, just in joining us and watching this and absorbing what God has for us, listening to what he has for us today. And if you don't know us, my name's Javi, and this is my wife.
I'm Jessica.
And we are with the Underdog Ninja Foundation. Here at the Underdog Ninja Foundation, we believe in 3 things that we stand on, and that is faith, character, and action. Mm-hmm. And we are here Monday through Saturday.
Tuesday through Saturday.
Tuesday through Saturday mornings. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay. For starting that one thing, that foundational piece, and that's that faith piece. And that faith piece is what leads us and allows us to build everything else, that character, and gives us the ability to act upon it. I believe that without faith, you might be able to do those other 2 things, but it's not as effective. It's not as fulfilling. And so our goal here is to help you have a more happy and fulfilling life. So that's why we're committed to doing this every morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
With you.
Absolutely. So Irene's just like filling up our comments with all of her spicy comments.
She just wanted to throw us off.
She's like, what are we talking about today? Spicy. So here's the thing, is that I wanted to talk about this for a while because so many people talk to us about, how come no one ever talks about this? It's the thing that no one talks about, but it is the thing that you go home and wonder if you can do. When is it safe to have sex? When is it, what about just like getting my heart rate up at all? Like, what about, it's this.
I was more worrying about communication.
Communication, you are a lie. But also money. It's like, wait a minute. What about when someone's can't go to work? You talked about this before, where people are concerned about being able to provide for their families. And so, so keep in mind, somebody is all like wound up about whether they can personally do all these things, whether they're going to be able to communicate well, whether they're going to be able to have intimacy with their spouse or their partner, whether they're going to be able to provide for the family. And then you have to worry about having those conversations with your spouse and wondering if they are on the same page or if they understand. So building on the rest of this week so far, now you're bringing all of your preconceived judgments, notions, and your own story to the table and wondering if your partner's even going to understand where you're coming from. And You've already built yourself up to like, well, I'm different now and I feel differently and I'm in a different place and I'm scared and afraid and confused and unstable about it. So I'm unsure, I have insecurities, and now we've got to sit down and talk about it. Or you don't talk about it, and then all kinds of other stuff happens. So before we dive into all of that, I want to read the study text that goes with it so we can make sure we jump off on the right foot. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Ready? Are you ready? Irene's ready.
Yeah, she's like, let's get started.
Let's get started. Okay, so communication, sex, and money. Relationship experts say that communication, sex, and money are the three greatest areas of struggle in most relationships. But like a tripod with missing legs, many people think that sex and money are outside their Heavenly Father's purview. The Bible says more about sex and money than most other subjects. Did you know that? You have heard it said, what you do not know won't hurt you. Hosea 4:6 states, many people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. The truth is, what you do not know is destroying you. No one can be expected to know more about a product than the manufacturer. Oh, I love that. So if things are not working for you in your life, it is probably because you are not following the manufacturer's instruction manual. Right. This Sunday around 11 o'clock in the morning, pull yourself into a shop and let a manufacturer's authorized dealer look under the hood. Remember, as with most products, if you do not use an authorized agent, it will void the warranty. Get your oil changed and let them replace your filters and fill you up with the fuel you need to be successful in life. What areas of your life have you mistakenly considered outside your Heavenly Father's purview? I love this already. Okay, so the verses that go with this are Hosea 4:6. Most people are being destroyed because they don't know me. Since your priests refuse to know me, I refuse to recognize you as my priest. Since you have forgotten the laws of your God, I will forget to bless your children. Whoa. Luke 12:22 through 34. Then turning to his disciples, Jesus said, that is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food to eat or enough clothes to wear. For life is more than food, and your body is more than clothing. Look at the ravens. They do not plant or harvest or store food in barns, for God feeds them. And you are far more valuable to him than any birds. Can all your worries add a single moment to your life? And if worry can't accomplish a little thing like that, then what's the use of worrying over bigger things? Look at the lilies and how they grow. They don't work or make their clothing, yet Solomon in all his glory was not dressed as beautifully as they are. And if God cares so wonderfully for flowers, that they are here today and thrown into the fire tomorrow, he will certainly care for you. Why do you have so little faith? And don't be concerned about what to eat and what to drink. Don't worry about such things. These things dominate the thoughts of unbelievers all over the world. But your Father already knows your needs. Seek the kingdom of God above all else, and he will give you everything you need. So don't be afraid, little flock, for it gives your Father great happiness to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to those in need. This will store up treasure for you in heaven, and the purses of heaven never get old or develop holes. Your treasure will be safe. No thief can steal it, and no moth can destroy it. wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. So I love that this is talking about that nothing is outside of God's purview. So
Right.
man, do we think, oh, sex, that's not, we're in church. Like, nope, he created this.
Right.
And he didn't just create it for, having children, or whatever. It was for our intimacy. So,
Right.
so go ahead.
No, go.
Well, I just didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to say something about this because I think that a lot of people don't realize what's actually happening and why we look at sex the way we look at it. Okay. Imagine think about how the enemy attacks us in life. So we've got God who has all these good things for us, right? All these amazing blessings through usually some sort of activity or, venture we're doing in life, some sort of goal we have, some sort of way we live, our lifestyle, our relationships. He's got some blessing through, because we read the 10 Commandments yesterday, like the way he thinks we should live our lives, the way he's saying this is what you should be doing to be to be blessed and to live the best life, you should strive for these things, right? Well, he does that in order to help guide us into a place where we would be the most blessed. Because usually these are the things that are most powerful to keeping us with him, with each other, lifted up, in the right frame of mind, blessed and sanctified, and not looking at what the enemy is doing, right? We're safest there, yeah? Because you want to keep your children safe, yeah? So that's why he creates these parameters and these guidelines. So sex is one of those things where this creates a bond that's deeper than any bond with a partner than there is. This is a covenant. This is, it's intimate. It's the reason it's called intimacy. This is so intimate that you know this person differently than you know anyone else, okay? There's something to be said about that in the spiritual realm where you're now bonded to this person in a way that you can't be with anyone else, right? The enemy knows that. The enemy knows that God has created this covenant, this bond, this act of relationship, right? Only in marriage, which is what it's supposed to be, right? Because it's so powerful in creating the strength and the foundation of a family. Mm-hmm. So the reason why I bring this up is because this is the most attacked thing that the enemy has, which is why the Bible talks about it so much. Right. Does that make sense? Right. So the enemy attacks this. So that's why we think about it the way we do, because the enemy has attacked it the most. It's been the most perverted, the most twisted, the most twisted thing that there is.
Right.
To take away from it the sacred act and covenant that it's supposed to be.
Yes. But between man and wife, though, sex and communication go hand in hand. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about let's talk about the person that has to go through some sort of heart procedure, some sort of procedure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When this is for men and women, especially if you've had bypass surgery. For women, that scar from the bypass is very traumatic.
It's right here.
It's right down the chest. And you feel like your beauty's been taken away. You feel like you're not attractive.
Your femininity's been taken away.
For a man, you feel like your strength has been taken away. You feel like you're
like you're not virile anymore.
Right. You're weakened.
Mm.
Okay. And because of that affects your sex life. That affects how you communicate. Many, many people, when they shut down in this area, they also shut down in regards in communication. It starts affecting everything else in their life, in their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when we were all week, we've been talking, we started the week talking about communication and how we can improve our communication.
Yeah.
It's also in the bedroom. And
for sure.
And, and we have to have these discussions with our partner on how the person that's actually fighting the diseases has actually is dealing with the consequences of the disease, and the other person. We also have to see how they feel.
Yeah.
Because they may feel like, oh, they're going to hurt you.
We hear that a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to operate anymore.
Yeah, operate's a good word. Yeah.
And I'm like, parts are the same.
Well, yeah, a lot of people will come but that's a great point, because it's both sides. So you've got the person who's actually dealing with the physicality of like, well, what are my limits now? This really ranges, by the way. This conversation is not identical couple to couple. Right. I mean, not even close. Just like it wouldn't have been before a heart attack. I mean, everybody's, intimate life is different, and every marriage is different. So, you've got anywhere from, people tell me they were at the doctor and like, listen, how long till we can have sex?
Right.
Like they're asking the questions. They're
That's like the first thing.
Yeah, like, right? Listen, I need to know how, because
the doctor's talking about diet and exercise, and they're like, I want to know. No. I could get down to business.
Priorities, please. But yeah, and it's like that. They're all about it, and they want to know when they can get back. Sometimes it's like they want to get back to normal. They know that it's one of the things that keeps them close, and if they can't do that, that's going to break down their marriage, which is true. And so they're like, what about that? Also, I think a lot of times people prompt those questions because, well, like me, they know that once they leave the office, they're going to have these questions. They're going to live their life, and then something's going to come up. So they're sitting in the office and they're running through, what are our regular things that we do that I might question in the moment? And I don't want to question it in the moment. Who wants to question anything in that moment? Like, right. Wait a minute. I might have a heart attack and I didn't ask it.
Right.
Like, wah. That kills the mood a little bit. I might have a heart attack. Well, I'm not interested now. But they want to ask these questions ahead of time when it's appropriate. Like in the doctor's office, like before this happens, I want to know what the rules are. I want to know what I should be able to do and what I shouldn't be able to do. And of course it varies, just like exercise. It's kind of like exercise. I'm just saying, it's the same thing. Physically, your heart rate goes up, sometimes, with your actual physical capability of moving your body around, like if you had a bypass surgery, whatever. A lot of times if somebody has a cath procedure, they've got you got your groin all screwed up over here because you had the cath, angiogram.
Yeah, there's nothing happening.
Nothing happening in the basement. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like for how long, right? And so you need to know physically what that looks like so that, by the way, both of you can be understanding and accepting of it. That's really the main reason why you should be asking these questions in the doctor's office, if it's at all important to you, if it's something that you're concerned, because the other person, and this is the thing that we've heard is, well, okay, so I said anywhere from somebody being like, hey, when can this happen, to people who assume that it's not going to happen now. Because they're like, well, I'm not even going to ask, because I wouldn't, even if they said it was okay, I wouldn't want to do that because I'm assuming that that's going to be dangerous. Like they're just you're like a glass house and I don't want to hurt you. And it's the same people that are like, don't get off the couch. What can I bring you?
Exactly.
Don't hurt yourself.
I think this is a bigger problem in this community than people won't really realize, because no one wants to talk about it.
Oh, it's a huge problem. In the heart disease, like Facebook groups, for example, people talk about it all the time. Yeah. It is in the community.
They talk about it in the community, but they don't talk about it with their spouse
or their doctor or anybody that would matter. Like they're talking about it with other people. Like, and then when they do talk about it in the community, I say all the time, because one person will bring it up. That's what I mean. Everyone's not talking about it because they don't think they should, but one person will bring it up in a post and they'll be like, hey, like, psst, like they're in a dark alley or something. They're like, hey, is anybody worried about if they can have sex or not after a heart attack? And then what happens is everyone gets permission to talk about it.
And lights up.
And it's like the most like commented thread for days, because everyone's like, oh, well, now that we're talking about it, let's talk about it. Oh, this is my story and this is what happened. And you've got all of your people who are like, it was the first question I asked. Right. And then you got
by interaction, right?
Yeah, right. So we know that this is a problem. We know that it's a sensitive subject, but a really important one, because I think this is one clearly, one of the reasons why marriages fail after something like this. So Irene, you're really blessing this broadcast today. I got to tell you, dark alley heart attacks. You're killing me. No, but I knew it. I knew, especially if you were here, I knew we would have a good conversation today. But Irene's one of those people that would ask before the doctor got done talking.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
she would be like, I don't even want to know if I'm diagnosed with anything yet. All I want to know first is at the end of this conversation, am I still going to be able to have sex? Because I'm just saying, like, right, Irene? You know that's you. It's why I love you. But I think that this is something that what I do know is this, is that I've seen people, their love life changes too. But it doesn't have to change for the worse. I've seen it change for the worse in people when they talked about their stories, but also for the better. So you get more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
You can have it can be a time of reconnection. Maybe it just the style of what you're doing, like your whole like connection changes. Style meaning like I know that through adversity, I've seen people have their old way of thinking about it goes out the window, and now it's more of an emotional connection to their partner. Does that make sense? So it's that security and that support and that emotional time with them that bonds them more. It's like a more grown up experience, I guess. I don't know how else to explain that, but it's more of an emotional experience than just like a physical one. Like when we're young, we're just like, this is what we're doing. But and we all have that too, even when we're older. But I mean, it becomes this like when you have to go through trauma, you really need that like closeness, that affection, that emotional security.
Yes.
And it really provides that.
Right.
And I think sometimes it becomes way more that for people if they want it to, which I think is a great thing for a deeper connection. But these are all things you have to communicate about.
You do, because it's a very sensitive thing.
No assumptions should be made around this.
Right. Because one, you want to be obviously cautious and careful, but then you don't want the other one. You don't want your partner to feel like you're scared of them, and you don't want to like they have the plague, or that, because that makes them feel that, okay, there's definitely something different here.
Sometimes people will think, well, you don't want me anymore and not attracted to me because they're worried about hurting you.
Exactly right.
It's like, if you can't communicate that, you're going to get all kinds of...
That's the open door. That's where the enemy starts playing their game. This is not going to be the same. You are not the same anymore.
You're not attractive anymore.
You are damaged goods.
They don't find, they don't love you. Okay. I don't know, whatever.
So those are all the things that go through your mind. So it's very important that we communicate and we talk about this with our partner in order to go forward with a healthy sex life. And if you have a healthy sex life, a lot of times that's going to transcend into better communication. If we have better communication, then we're able to handle some of the other big things like money, financial things.
That's a great point.
If we aren't talking about look, this is all, I know this is kind of weird, but I'm kind of painting the picture that sex is could in a relationship could be the key thing to all of this, because
it's the intimacy.
If we stop the intimacy, we stop the communication. If we stop the communication, then we are not able to talk about the big things. We argue about the big things like money
and kids
and everything else. But money is huge in our house, right? In every household. The finances, that's our home, that's our goals, that's our future. Especially
when it's put into question with heart disease.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And so for a guy's point of view, am I going to be able to, if you see me this way, you see me weak in the bedroom, then I'm weak as your provider. I can't hunt and gather. I can't do the things that I need to do for my family. That goes back to our very nature. So if I'm not able to perform, if you feel that I'm not able to perform here in the bedroom, then how am I going to be able to perform in my other duties as your husband? And that sometimes is bringing in the money. Sometimes, and look, it doesn't matter if you're both working.
Yeah, and he just gives look. I just want to make something clear. You give a man's perspective, but I mean, we all know that this is easily a woman's perspective too,
right?
Because there's lots of women that provide for their whole family, and it's the same.
Some of us have to retire.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes we have to stop what we're doing
and do something else.
How's that affect you?
Mm-hmm.
And how does that affect the money? When the money is not coming in, and you know in the back of your head, I still have it in you. I still want to work, but your body doesn't allow you to.
Yeah.
That you had to give up your career or you had to stop whatever you're doing. That all could go in reverse now, right? Because now that you're not providing, then you shut down, you stop communicating, and you stop communicating in the bedroom too.
Well, you shut down emotionally.
These are things that we all have to really put on the table here and discuss these things transparently. So our partner knows exactly how we feel. And then you guys could come together and develop a plan based on truth.
Well, and the thing is look, we're talking about faith first. So when I think the first step to managing or navigating all of these things, whether it's communication or sex or money or parenting or just the things that are directly related to whatever health battle you're in, heart disease or whatever, is that you've got to admit or identify, right, what's actually going on. Like, oh, we are really having an issue with this. This is something that we don't agree on or we're miscommunicating about, or obviously we have different ideas about, we haven't communicated on it. So both of you together, ideally, would go to God in prayer over these things for his insight and his healing, okay? But even if the other person's not on board with you on that, then you need to be doing it. So not only can you be responding in love and an understanding in the way that God would want you to, he can give you clarity, but then pray that the other person would hear from God on it, or would hear from you and listen. You got to start somewhere. You can only always start with yourself. But ideally, the both of you would put that problem out in front of you together and say, okay, what are we doing about all this? Mm-hmm. Because this is an issue and we both know it. And so, and really, a lot of times what we'll do is be like, all right, neither one of us knows what to do about this. So you're kind of on the same page. You're on the same level. You're like, well, we're not either one of us trying to have an ego about it. Not either one of us is trying to be the fixer. We just know that we need to pray about it because, and that's the thing. That's why we've been through so many things in our marriage that would, like we keep saying it, that would break up most marriages, because that's the first thing we did was take it away from him in between here. If it's here and you're both arguing back and forth or trying to solve this problem between you, it's between you. It needs to be out in front of you. So not only can you see it better, but now it's not the wedge. It's not a wedge in between you. You're a team, and it's about solving the problem together. Instead of blaming each other or who's doing what or whatever, be like, you know what? It doesn't matter. We're both human beings. We both have different ideas about things. It doesn't matter. Do we want to solve this or not? And really, that comes down to, when you problem solve, it comes down to dropping your ego, dropping all the blame, and saying, we're in the same boat. If you sink, I sink. So do we want to solve the problem or not? If we do, then who cares whose fault it was or who said what thing? Moving forward, do we want this to be better? And if we do want it to be better, then we need to implement some things like prayer, communication, strategies, finding people who can help us if we don't know what to do. Or if we do know what to do and we don't know how to do that, then finding the people that can show us how to do that. Finding people who've been there before us, have navigated this path. What have you done? Okay, let's do that. Let's try this. But you're always moving towards fixing the problem together than always having these conversations between you and trying to navigate around this issue that's between you. So these are big problems, and they are in the Bible. Okay. By the way, money is the same as sex in how it's attacked. Okay. People talk about money is the root of all evil. No, the Bible never said money is the root of all evil, by the way. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. When somebody puts money before God, because that's one of the most powerful things that's the biggest draw, right? Because it's the currency. It's the thing that runs our lives. It's the thing that allows us to do or not do things or whatever. It determines our status. It determines our freedom. It determines our capability of doing whatever we want, whatever. Right. It determines motion and capabilities and things. We really put a lot of power into it because that's what our world does.
And it's one of the biggest distractions.
So it's easy to put it in front instead of God. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to do this thing because of money instead of God. right? So it's a constant every day. I mean, even us, like we know that God is the CEO of our businesses. He's the one that called us to do this. Like, and we'll, just like any human being, you get caught up in, well, okay, but how are we, okay, money, right? Because we got to pay our bills. I mean, it doesn't go away. You got to do it. But most of the time God works in impossible situations, and he'll provide and he'll show up last minute. But as long as you're focused on God instead of money. Now, so the thing is the Bible's really clear though, is that when you put money before God, the love of money, when money is your focus, it's your motivation, it's what you worship. That's the root of all evil, because it's the number one thing that will take you away from God.
Right.
And it's like it's the antithesis of following God for serving, for impact, for, love and compassion. It's very mechanical. It's very non-feeling. But here's the thing that I want you to know when you're talking about money, okay? Whether it's in a marriage or in a business or whatever it is. We all have our feelings about money because of the way we were raised about money. Everybody brings different communication to the table in a relationship about money because of the way you were raised, because of the way society views money, the meaning that is attached to money is always different for different people. Some people think it is evil. Some people think that it's everything. Some people think that they shouldn't ever have money because they don't deserve it. They have different levels of like what's expensive, what's not expensive, and how to manage money. Some people have great money management skills, and some people have terrible money management skills, and all these things. How your parents raised you growing up, like how your parents worked or didn't, and all that. So you put all that on the table, and now you're going to have a discussion with your spouse about it, right? Knowing all of those things. The way that Bible talks about money is a couple of ways. One is good stewardship. So the money, and really anything in your life, by the way, but we're talking about money. Good stewardship means you've been put in charge of money that isn't even yours. By the way, money is God's. God's the one that provides money. He's the one that provides capabilities and the way and the open and closed doors. He's the one that provides the capabilities. So he provides money for this. So in that, the second thing I was going to say about money is a vehicle. Okay. Money is a vehicle. All it is a tool and a vehicle towards things. So it can be a blessing, a massive blessing, which we all know, but because it's the way you use it, right? Sex is the same way. We all come to the table with different views of sex, which is also part of the reason why there's so many problems, because the enemy has done a good job at twisting it and perverting it and misconstruing it and giving us all, either we've been abused with it sometime in our life, whether we were children or adults, attacked, whatever, we've been infiltrated with all kinds of media when it comes to it, society's version of this. What's okay, what's not okay, what was allowed, what's not allowed, what's normal, how should I feel? Am I normal in how I feel? I mean, it's nuts. And we've gotten really away from the actual point of what it was for, is for this bond, is for this relationship building, is for this intimacy that is the core of like what this relationship is supposed to be. And it's not supposed to be for all the things that society's made it into, the enemy's made it into. So when we take my whole point, when we take all of these preconceived notions and twisted versions of communication, sex, and money that the Bible talks a lot about, that we don't think it does, we take society's version of that. And then we're supposed to have a healthy conversation during adversity when we don't even know what to do with all this. And we started out with an unhealthy version to begin with. All of our baggage from how we felt about money before, all of our baggage about how we felt about sex, how we felt about marriage and communication, how even society teaches us to deal with hard times. Well, it's all over now, man. Had a guy tell us yesterday that his doctor with chronic pain told him, you're just going to have to deal with the pain from now on for the rest of your life. And he was like, forget you. And P.S., he's not in pain anymore. So, it's all about, we need to go back to what God says about these things, how we're supposed to, what are they even for? What's the healthy perspective of these things? Because once we come to the table with adversity, like heart disease is happening, now we're in chaos. We don't know what to even do. That's when you need a clean slate. So my whole point is clean slate. We're both on the same page. We're on the same team. What do we want our sex life to look like? What do we want our money to look like? What do we want our communication to look like? If it's really that broken down, then why are we working with old broken tools? Scrap it. What do we want it to look like? What does God say about it? Pray about it. build it to where you want it to be.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be evil. It doesn't have to be twisted. It doesn't have to be what society says. It needs to be what God says. That is the best and fastest way to success, is to scrap it and say, well, who cares what happened before? Maybe we weren't even where we wanted to be before this happened. Like, whatever. What do we want it to be? What can this adversity create in us that we now have better level, a next level in all these things? Maybe it was the interrupt in your pattern of life that you needed to right across the face. Breathe. Stop what you're doing. Now go this direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I just said a lot. I'm sorry, but it was just kind of coming to me.
So when you're talking about money, and how we view money, what I was going to say is, we often forget that when it comes to what God wants in our life, what we often forget is that we are still called to do His will.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes it takes money. A lot of times when people run into hard times, or society says, to someone that is down and out, have you gone to the church? They depend on the church. They depend on the church to feed people. They depend on the church to clothe people, to help provide for them. Where do you think that comes from? It doesn't come out of thin air. Okay? It takes you and I to give,
mm-hmm.
to contribute, to do something for God's people.
And that takes money,
right?
Which isn't evil if it's doing good work.
You see some large Christian organizations out there doing amazing things. Okay, providing health and welfare to third world countries, to providing health and welfare for people that have been through a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
They are like an elite force. They go out and they provide goodwill to people.
Mm-hmm.
All that costs millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Okay. Millions, not the coins in the bottom of your purse or in your pants. Okay. It takes serious money. And when we think of money and we think about our relationship with God, and we think those are counterintuitive. No, they're
hand in hand.
They're hand in hand. It's just how you see it.
Yeah.
How do you see that money? Look, I've had people question whether or not taking vacations, spending money on vacations is okay. Is that a sin? No.
Is it a sin?
We need to be able to get away. We need to be able to replenish ourselves. And I believe that God wants us to do those things.
Yeah.
And because when we are less stressed, we're able to get more clarity and to be able to move forward.
Jesus, we were watching The Chosen the other day. And this guy, I can't remember if it was Philip. I can't remember who it was. Asked him, oh no, it was John the Baptist. And he said, why are you out here? Or maybe it wasn't John, but he was, why are you out here all the time? Why aren't you like in the cities doing all this stuff? Why are you always out in the middle of nowhere, like with your disciples?
Oh, it was John the Baptist.
It was John. Okay. Because I'm the episode, I can't remember which episode it was. And he goes, because I need solitude. And he's like, why? You're like Jesus. You need to, you have the power to be doing all this stuff. He goes, because I need to get replenished. I need solitude so that I can focus on what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like he needs to replenish himself from all of the, I mean, think about it. Not only is he walking everywhere, but he's leading this pack of people, all these disciples, and he's got all of these plans. He's the leader, but he's busy healing people and everything. That one episode where he was just like spent. I mean, he was just completely destroyed. I mean, he just kind of like fell into his tent and was like, good night, everybody, from healing people all day long out in the desert. Like he was just absolutely destroyed. He just had nothing left in him. And so he didn't just go, well, I can't go on vacation or take a moment off because that would be wasteful. No, he needs it or he can't continue to do it.
Imagine being God in a human body.
Yeah.
Okay. You are, even though there are no restrictions for God, but in a human body, they're in a sinful and dying world, there are restrictions.
Yeah, there's limitations
in a human body. That means you have a limited amount of energy, right? You have a limited amount of strength. And I think that, well, obviously that was on purpose. Jesus needed, he did all these things in a human body without any type of how could I say heavenly intervention.
Yeah.
Okay, because easily God could have replenished him. God could have
supernatural, doesn't need sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was all on purpose because he needed to understand, not that he didn't understand, he needed to be as human as possible in order to take on those sins, understand what people were taking, the heaviness.
Yeah.
I believe at any time he healed people, he took on those things. Imagine those demons that he had to come against.
It was just a lot of weight.
And a lot of weight. And so it took a lot of prayer. And that's why when Jesus is telling us what we need to do, it's not that he's looking down at us.
Yeah, and going like this.
He's looking at us side by side, face to face. This is what you need to do
because he understands
to fight this particular circumstance. And
so the reason we bring this up is because what you were saying is that we need to have rest. We need to, there's all this stuff around. How could money be the root of all evil if it does so much good? If we wanted to, it's just a tool. I mean, you may as well say hammers are the root of all evil. Now I realize that people aren't worshiping hammers and money is different, but it is a tool.
Somewhere in the world.
Somebody's worshiping hammers. We know this, but it's like, money can be a tool and a vehicle to very, very, very good things and is in this world right now. Yes. And that includes taking a respite for our families, taking a rest from all the hard work that we're doing. And God calls us to something he knows we're going to need rest in that. In fact, he says things like, hey, that's what the Sabbath is for. Hey, you should rest at least once a week and do nothing. I don't even want you to cook. I just want you to prepare for that day and literally do nothing.
Hold on. I didn't see that.
If God didn't want us to take rest and maybe that takes money. Well, in fact, it has to take money because there'd be no way for us to do absolutely nothing on that day. It costs money to not work. It costs money to not work, and it costs money to pay for the things that you're not providing on that day, right? Like the preparation of the food or buying food or whatever you're doing. And I'm not saying everybody does this the same. It's just an example of, if we're asked, there's a reason he gave us that day. It wasn't just to have a rule, you're going to get struck down if you don't follow my rules. It's more about, he said, I want you to at least, I know you because I designed you this way. You need to at least have one day a week where you're resting so that you can actually rejuvenate in order to carry out. Too. What's that? God did too. God rested on the seventh day. Hello. So it is necessary. Clearly, we are designed to need that rest. So it's not a sin to rest and to spend money either on that day. It costs money to rest because you're not working, right? That's okay. God, and I think part of the reason why he's created that place for us to rest, and this all comes back to, again, we're talking about marriage and heart disease, right? We need time to just chill, right? As a relationship, why don't you just have fun on that day? Why don't you, instead of worrying about all the things you're worrying about, whether or not you're intimate or whether or not you're worried about money or whether or not you're worried about the kids, or maybe just have some fun, You know, on Sundays, we just go hike with the kids. Or if it's sunny, which half the time isn't here, but we play video games or we play board games or we have family day. We watch our favorite movies or whatever it is, do puzzles all the time. We have to get back into some more puzzles. And so it's that we just really just kind of chill out together and just rest. It isn't just for our own souls. It's for the soul of the family. Right. It's for, you know, us to get together with God. Mm-hmm. I know so many Sundays. This is our opportunity where God will really speak loudest to us on Sundays. And by the way, not because we're in a church. We've been streaming church for over a year now. Okay. So I know it's not the building. It's the time where we're not working. We're not busy. We're not distracted. God has a straight line to like, hey, I want to talk to you. Well, and we hear it loud and clear. There's so many Sundays where I'm bawling because God's so clear with me about something. That's such an epiphany. It's such a revelation. It's so awesome. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's huge. It's something I didn't know we needed to do, or it's something I need to fix and I didn't realize I was doing. It's just so clear. So that respite, that rest to take as a family, as a couple, it not only is good for just the heaviness of what you're dealing with heart disease, but it's not a sin. It's a good thing for you to get together, have some fun, be at rest, hear from God, whatever.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned resting and money, earning money or making money, whatever. I think that really goes into us as when we're recovering from a heart procedure or wondering if you're able to earn the same amount of money that you were before. You're resting, you're recovering, and you're thinking in the back of your head, oh, I got to get back to work. You're thinking about looking around the house. I got to do my chores,
honey-do list, right?
I got to do this. I got to do that.
Yeah.
I know I've fallen into that. And when you're not out there, before your heart attack or your heart event, you were a workaholic. Well, maybe this is the time that God is wanting you to rest, to help you understand that you've taken on a lot and you're living with a high amount of stress. Maybe this is your opportunity to get some clarity. And yes, maybe you're not able to go to work right now, or you're not able to do what you used to be able to do. But I believe if you not focus on that and focus on what God is trying to show you through these circumstances, there are some answers there that will allow you to move forward with your life without all that stress. You can't go back to your old life being a workaholic.
Right.
You can't go back to your old life doing everything for everybody. Yeah. You can't sustain that. It's going to affect your disease. It's going to affect you. And it's less about you and your abilities. It's more about your routine and what you're allowing in your life.
What's good and what isn't. It's not just because you can doesn't mean you should is a really powerful statement that's used all the time. And it's because it's so true. Right. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like, I can clean my own house, but if I could be doing something that I'm called to do during the time that I'd be cleaning my house and I can afford to give someone a job and hire someone to clean my house, then why wouldn't I do that?
Exactly right.
Wouldn't I take that time to be doing something else instead of taking my time to clean my house? If I'm busy, impacting someone's life, what if I had a call with someone where I needed to help them change what they're doing and I can help them, but I can't do that call because I'm cleaning my bathtub. Or I could hire someone, give them, some more of their livelihood, bless them, and free myself up to do the things God's called me to do. Just because I can doesn't mean I should. Just a simple example.
There's this story I tell now and then, and I swear I'm not bitter. Okay.
Well, when you preempt it with that.
No, because we play around with that a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because after my bypass surgery, I'm recovering at home. And believe it or not, after you have bypass surgery, if you have no complications, they have you up and going pretty quickly.
Like the same day? Sit next day. Yeah.
Within 4 hours post surgery, right? And everything moves along pretty quickly. I mean, and that includes getting up and out of the hospital and back home. And so I'm recovering, and I can't, to be honest, I can't remember how soon after my bypass surgery, but I'm still kind of walking gingerly and everything. And I had a lot of family come and help take care of, but there was a part where all the other family went away, so it was just my kids, my teenage kids. And again, at the time, a lot of my kids were either graduated from high school or in college, and I had like, a few kids still at home, but they're all older and all capable. Okay. And we get a bunch of snow. I mean, record amount of snow. And people are having trouble getting their cars out so they could go to work, my kids, or to school. And
instead he's not bitter.
Instead of shoveling the snow themselves, guess who's out there shoveling snow? Me.
Yes.
And do you think they helped?
No.
No.
We're looking at you, kids.
So
just because you can doesn't mean you should or can't.
I think they built, these grown kids that were building snowmen while I'm over there shoveling the snow.
Oh, I believe it.
After bypass surgery.
Yeah.
But
Irene.
I'm
glad you're still here.
The thing is that's, I don't know why I brought that up. But
it's therapeutic for you.
But no. It's something I shouldn't have done.
Yeah. Yeah, you really should have said no. That's true.
It's something that
been like, fools, get out there and do it yourself.
I didn't think twice about it. That's the thing. I'm going to go out there and do it. I became stubborn. I'm just going to do it, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't until afterwards I'm like, oh no. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that because I paid for it physically. So, my whole point is that there's things that you, for now, while you're recovering, there are certain points that you should allow yourselves to recover. And even though there are things that are around the house and things that need to get done,
and maybe intimate things that need to get done,
right?
Discuss it. You need to recover, and then business is normal.
Yes. Yeah. Well, going back to that, the thing is the important thing that we've talked about throughout today is discussing these areas.
Yeah, totally.
These are key areas that destroy these marriages after your heart disease or during your fight with heart disease. These are the 3 things that get in the way, and they all coincide with one another.
So what we talked about today, in case you're just joining us, is communication, sex, and money, and how that is very biblical, and how, the best ways to communicate that with each other, all the different scenarios and things like that. And just some things around, why these are important, how they can really break down a marriage, how God feels about it. And so if you missed it, make sure you go back and watch if this is something that would help you, because these are really big things that affect marriages with heart disease and are not discussed most of the time. They're just not, especially sex, but also money and communication are big. And I think communication comes up, but this is something that it's not really focused on by like doctors or, any like cardiac rehab or anything like that. They're really focused on the physical, practical things like nutrition and fitness. Maybe if you have depression, we'll send you with a pill or something. But all this other lifestyle stuff, this living your life day to day, where like all the real work happens, all the day-to-day stuff, none of that's discussed. And that's why we're here to do that, because we feel like, we feel very strongly that it's something that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I'm going to say this one thing. We've been saying this all week. If you are having problems with any of these areas, okay, any of these areas we've spoke about all week long, and you've tried to work with your spouse, you've tried to work this relationship out, seek help.
Mm-hmm.
Don't call it quits.
Yeah.
Seek help. Get some help. If it's money, get someone to help you manage your money, some sort of financial manager. Okay. And if it's these other things, there's therapists that will help walk you through these things.
Yep. It could be, and if it's not that complicated, it could be a pastor or a friend that's good friends with you guys. But be praying about it. Be getting some sort of support.
I don't want to talk about my friends' sex lives.
No.
I don't care how close.
Okay with the money part. I don't know.
I'm just fine.
You're like, anyway, TMI, I don't want to talk about that with
you. Look, guys, we are going to get on out of here. But hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this week. I know that this was very focused. It was very focused on marriage and the marriage relationship. But again, most of this all week has been something that we could apply to all aspects of our lives in regards to relationships.
Absolutely.
So if you did get something out of this week or today, please hit like and share with your friends and family. We would really appreciate that.
Yes, this is not a mission. That's not a 2-person mission that we can just do by ourselves. This is something that we all need to come together as a community around heart disease, around the heart disease community, so that it can be something that is tackled, is discussed, is handled, so that people don't have to suffer in silence with all of these questions and having their marriages break down and their families break apart and themselves have a breakdown. And so we have to make sure that we are vigilant about sharing these things, making sure that the word gets out to people that need it desperately. If you're watching on our YouTube channel live, we're on there live now too. And you can also watch these on replay there. Make sure you're hitting subscribe, because then you can get notified for any future content or broadcasts we do put on our foundation's YouTube channel. And we really appreciate your support there.
And one last thing. Remember, it's Saturday, guys, and we have a Saturday show. And today's show at 9:30 is going to be amazing.
In 30 minutes from now. Yeah, that's right. Catch us again. We'll be back here, and we're going to have an interview with a amazing heart attack survivor. Her story is incredible. So make sure that you pop back in with us for that, because you don't want to miss it.
Yep. All right, guys. You have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you later.